Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily, the first English news program in Poland. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee. On the last day of the ruling Law and Justice Party convention taking place in Katowice, the Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki concluded the event by presenting his vision in transforming the ideas presented by the party into concrete actions for years to come. The Prime Minister expects the program proposed during the three-day meeting to come into effect in the foreseeable future.
Thanking Poland was the slogan of the convention of the currently ruling Law and Justice Party, which took place in Katowice. The Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki underlined that the brainstorming that took place at the Law and Justice Party and the United Right Convention this weekend was the next stage in elaborating the electoral program. The subjects of the conference were healthcare, new laws, climate change, energy security and much more. Politicians of the United Right say it was a very busy time and a very fruitful one for the future of Poland. The fact that there were so many matters taken on during these 3 days proves that the Law and Justice wants to discuss concrete solutions for modern problems. We talk about the future, about our vision for it and what we can do for Poles. It's amazing. You can see here that there are so many people, it's like an ant's nest. We talk about what we managed to do, what we should continue to do, and what new ideas can we propose. The leader of the Law and Justice Party, Jarosław Kaczyński, emphasized that credibility will be the key for the party to win the upcoming elections this autumn.
Będziemy prowadzili politykę merytoryczną, przemyślaną.
We will govern on a platform based on policies which have been thought through and policies based on what I have discussed here earlier, meaning credibility. Because without credibility there is no democracy. If political parties which participate in elections trick voters by promising things that they can't keep, or as it often is, don't intend to keep, then the entire democratic process is manipulated. Such behavior is truly anti-democratic. Without credibility there can be no democracy, stated Kaczyński in his speech. He went on to say that this summer will be very busy for the politicians of the Law and Justice, who won't have any holidays, or for the good results in the parliamentary elections in autumn. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki stated that the elections will probably take place in October.
75 years have passed since Operacja Ostra Brama, or Operation Gate of Dawn, which commenced on the night between July 6th and July 7th, 1944. 5,000 Polish soldiers of the Home Army, the main organization of the Polish military underground, launched an assault on the city of Vilnius, trying to take it from the German army before the Soviet army arrived at the city. After a couple of days of heavy fighting, the Poles and Soviets captured the city together. But later, the Soviets betrayed the Poles, disarmed them, and arrested the Polish commanders.
Ultimately, the Polish soldiers fought together with the Soviets to liberate Vilnius from the German occupation after a few days of battle. Shortly after this event, however, the NKVD arrested Polish soldiers. The soldiers of the Home Army were disarmed along with their command. Most of them went to prison or were sent deep into the Soviet Union. Yesterday in Lithuania, the 75th anniversary of the operation began. Today, a solemn Holy Mass took place in the Church of St. Teresa in Vilnius for the fallen and living soldiers.
The spokesperson for the Iranian government, Ali Rabiei, announced that the Middle Eastern country is beginning the process of enriching uranium over the limit set in the nuclear deal. If the signatories do not allow for export of Iranian oil, Tehran will continue restricting the commitments found in the deal every 2 months.
In a few hours, the technical work will be done and enrichment beyond 3.67% will begin. We predict that tomorrow morning, when the agency comes to measure, our enrichment will be higher than 3.67%. The reason we are starting our second step in reducing our commitments from the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action today is that Europe and other members of the JCPOA could not meet our demands, especially in the field of oil and bringing back our income. They haven't been able to do anything worthy.
Iran has violated its solemn promise under the UN Security Council not to enrich uranium beyond a certain level. The enrichment of uranium is made for one reason and one reason only. It's for the creation of atomic bombs. The leaders of the P5+1 promised and committed themselves to snap back sanctions the minute Iran did that. It just did. Where are you?
Under the pact, Iran can enrich uranium to 3.67% fissile material, well below the 20% it was reaching before the deal, and roughly 90% suitable for a nuclear weapon. Iran shows no sign of caving into pressure from US President Donald Trump in a confrontation that has taken on a military dimension, with Washington blaming Tehran for attacks on oil tankers and Iran shooting down a US drone, prompting aborted US airstrikes. The United States last year pulled out of the accord, signed along with China, Russia and European Union countries such as Britain, France and Germany.
Another NGO vessel has illegally disembarked African migrants in the Italian island of Lampedusa. In the middle of the night, the vessel Alex, operated by the Italian NGO Mediterranea, entered the port against the direct orders of Italian Minister of Interior Matteo Salvini. The vessel has been confiscated in accordance with Salvini's recently passed security decree, and the captain will be prosecuted for aiding human traffickers.
I saw that the German government wrote me a letter today asking to reopen the ports and to let all the migrants disembark. No, absolutely not. And I think I can say it on your behalf. There is a German ship that is breaking the Italian laws for the umpteenth time. Like it or not, there are some laws voted by the Italian parliament that represent 60 million Italians. Therefore, on what grounds private ships, managed by privates, decide how to organize human trafficking and decide how and when to break laws? Sea borders and land borders are the same. And so, dear German government, I am not reopening Italian ports, especially if you ask me to. There is a German ship and then you take care of it, or we put them all on a bus in front of the German embassy. That's enough. And this applies to the French, the Dutch and to anyone who thinks anything can be done in Italy. On Saturday, a migrant rescue boat breached a ban on docking in Italy for the second time in a week, arriving illegally in Lampedusa as Italy rejected a German call to open its ports to charity vessels. German Interior Minister Horst Seehofer on Saturday asked his Italian counterpart, Lega leader Matteo Salvini, to rethink his decision to close the country's ports for NGO vessels. The sailboat Alex, carrying 41 migrants, docked at the same quay, where a week ago another charity vessel rammed an Italian police boat when it decided to illegally disembark more than 60 migrants after 2 weeks in international waters.
That's it for today. See you next time on Poland Daily. But stay tuned for the Poland Daily Weather Report, followed by the Poland Daily Business section.
Welcome to Poland Daily Weather. Let's take a look at the forecast for tonight. Temperature will range from 10 degrees in Zielona Góra and Szczecin to 13 degrees in Koszalin and Gdańsk. Sky will be a little overcast. Rainfalls will appear over Koszalin and Poznań. And now over to tomorrow. Rainfall will appear on the north, but in the rest of the country we can see moments when the sun will peek through the clouds. The temperature will range from 17 degrees in Olsztyn to 21 in Kraków and Rzeszów. Let's see the forecast for the following 3 days. Some mixed rain and sun is expected across the Poland on Tuesday, a maximum 21 degrees on the south and a minimum 17 degrees in Białystok. On Wednesday, maximum temperature will be 21 degrees. Rain is expected in central and on the northeast. On Thursday, temperature will rise to 23 degrees. Rainfall will appear only on the southeast. Thank you for watching and see you soon.
Watching Poland Daily Business Edition. Our guest tonight is Artur Włodarski of Lazarski University. Sir, welcome to the show.
Hello.
And let us try to wrap up the summit, that dramatic summit of the leaders of the European Union. It was supposed to take only a few hours, almost 3 days, in fact. They were discussing the issues, and some say in Poland that Poland emerged victorious after this meeting. Do you agree with this sentence?
3 days, it's always less than 10 months when people met at Congress in Vienna in 1815. So we can say that to some extent the decision has been made quickly, but unfortunately the process of nominating and electing candidates for the top 4, this time 5 top positions, because we have European Central Bank, which term ends this year, confirms only the imperfect state of the Union, because the process to some extent showed deficiencies in democracy in the European Union. Why? Because we still see the hegemony of Germany and France. Because when we look on the 4 top positions, we see that we have German, French people, Italian people, and 1 person from Belgium. But the most important positions are actually the head of the European Commission, and it goes to Ursula von der Leyen from Germany, and the head of the European Central Bank, and this position goes to lady from France. Unfortunately, none of the important positions goes to the new members of the European Union from Central and Southern Europe. In addition to this, there is one more deficiency. We see that the process of nominating candidates, so-called Spitzenkandidates or lead candidates by the European Parliament, has been completely ignored, because none of the persons nominated by the European Parliament, either Manfred Weber or Franz Timmermans, or, for example, Jan Zahradil from European Conservatives and Reformers, or, for example, Madame Vestager, has been taken into account in this arithmetical calculation.
But the heads of states
discussed,
are actively...
Of course, it shows that European Parliament is, which is to some extent the emanation of the people's will, because people in direct elections, I see disagreement on your face, but people in direct elections are choosing members of Parliament. But anyway, European Parliament wanted this process in 2014 to be installed in this landscape of European Union politics, but it has been ignored and to some extent scrapped away.
Right, but we also have emergency of the new countries. We saw this cooperation of the V4 country, Poland, Czech Republic, Slovakia and Hungary. Does this country that together have about 80 million people are able to stand against or influence the decision of France, Germany, and apparently Holland and Spain? Those countries agreed in Osaka on certain terms, on certain positions for certain people. That's, I don't know if the Osaka in Japan is in European Union. Maybe that's a new way of discussing. And that's why the rumor was all about the European Union. It's not about the strongest parties to make a deal between themselves and the rest to follow. The rest also demands to have their voice heard.
Of course, and this is the first time when the voice of those states has been heard. And let's remember that Visegrad 4 is actually the leading trade partner as a bloc for the Germany, for example. So they now try to recognize that it's important trading partner, for example, for Germany, and the voice has been heard because Franz Timmermans has been ignored as the top candidate for this position of the head of the European Commission. However, unfortunately, nobody from Central Europe or Southern Europe has been offered an important position, and several names has been mentioned, for example, from Bulgaria, like Kristalina Georgieva.
Is it a problem? We, as a Poles, had Donald Tusk adopted as a chairman of the European Council. That's, for those who don't know, that's something that binds the head of European Council is basically the guy who manages the gatherings of the European leaders. They came all over the world. One had to set agenda, one has to set times of the meeting, and then inform about the outcome. So this is one of the 3 most important positions in the European Union. Was it for Poland beneficiary in any way?
The role of Donald Tusk as the head?
Yes.
Absolutely not. It was a prestigious position for Poland as a country. However, there was no tangible fruits, tangible benefits for Poland from this role of Donald Tusk. It has been, first of all, good for him personally, for his career. However, I think that we can say that Visegrad 4, and especially Poland, is victorious in this time in the European Union because we managed to block the candidature of Franz Timmermans. And let's remember that Polish government did not promote any other candidate or any Polish candidate for top positions because we are realists and we know that unfortunately we have a rotating system on top positions, and it would be very difficult to put someone from Poland again into one of those 4 or this time 5 top positions. That's why we wanted moderate goals to be achieved, just to block the candidature of Franz Timmermans, and we managed to do it. That's why I think Polish diplomats should be glad, because it is a victory for them.
At least there will be no Timmermans on the top position of European Union as a president of the...
And if I can say something else, I would regret that, again, unfortunately, we have chosen for top positions people from the second league without great charisma and recognition in European Union. I think the time is ripe for a statesman to be elected to those positions, because we are in very difficult time of transformation, of looking for a new identity for the European Union. That's why it's a pity that we see the names from the second league of European politics. No, who knew about David Sassoli from Italy? He becomes the head of European Parliament. Or Charles Michel. He is a constructor, architect of a government in Belgium which does not function. He's an acting head of the Belgian government. Nobody knew this name before. Ursula von der Leyen. She was mentioned in recent years as someone who actually failed to build a Bundeswehr as the strong modern army.
From Polish perspective,
it's good.
Person who destroys Bundeswehr is very welcome.
It's a good Polish asset in Federal Republic of Germany. But from a German perspective, she failed on this position, and she was involved in a kind of scandal of fund mismanagement in the Ministry of Defense in Germany.
Thank you for this insight, and that was it for tonight's Poland Daily Business.
Welcome back to Poland Daily Weather. Let's take a look at the forecast for tomorrow. Rainfall will appear on the north, but in the rest of the country we can see some moments when the sun will peek through the clouds. The temperature will range from 17 degrees in Olsztyn to 21 degrees in Kraków and Rzeszów. And now let's see tomorrow's forecast for our continent. On the south of Europe, temperature will rise. The highest temperature we will see in Rome, 36 degrees. Warmer in the Balkans, and there the temperature will range from 29 to 34 degrees in Athens. In Central Europe, a lot of sunlight will appear. At time to time, we will see thunderstorms and rains. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
Welcome to Poland Daily Culture. I'm John Carter, and on today's episode, we're here at Otwock Palace. So come and join me as we take a trip around classic Polish culture.
Otwock Grand Palace in Otwock Wielki is otherwise known as the Jezierscy Family Palace or Bielińscy Family Palace. It is a historic residence located on an artificial island in an oxbow lake of the river Vistula in Otwock Wielki. It is the former summer home of the Bielińscy family, all aristocracy from Ciechanów County in Mazovia, who maintained a close relationship with the Saxon court. But the family heirs squandered the family wealth in the 18th century, and the palace became in the end closely associated with the Jezierscy family, following the palace's acquisition by Jacek Jezierski. It remained in the hands of that family until the communist period of 1945-1989. The palace was restored and opened to the public as Interiors Museum or Museum of Design in Otwock, a satellite branch of the Warsaw National Museum.
So, am I right in thinking that the Jezierski family were the only family over the palace's history to actually live here?
W okresie XIX wieku tak naprawdę nikt na terenie tutaj nie mieszkał, a Jezierscy byli pierwsi, którzy...
Yes, this is true. The Jezierski family were the only people to live around here in the 19th century. They were the first to stay at the residency, not the palace itself. These pictures indicate that family life here was abundant. The same case was with the Bieliński family, who were related to Poland's most famous bloodlines, like the Potoccy, Czartoryscy, Lubomirscy. These are leading names of Polish aristocracy.
Polskiej, ale także na to, jak oni żyli.
They are a sign of not just the level of the family, but also the way they lived, as the aristocracy imposed a certain standard of living. The Bieliński family lived their lives at a very high standard. We are talking about a level attainable to foreign European states, European courts. Often that standard was similar to the king's lives, as the aristocracy was oftentimes more affluent than the royal.
Poziomie, tylko trzeba pamiętać, że to już był XX wiek, styl życia.
Meanwhile, the Jezierski family lived in the 20th century, and there were simply different values and lifestyle in place. It was a style that could be described as a conscious life, close to nature, using all the elements, that is, using the vastness of the property, using its goods, both material ones, and its location. The families hosted gatherings for each other. This is what the preserved photo albums indicate. You can see that during various family events, a photographer was booked, and he took pictures not only for the owners, but also for the guests. We find these same photos in other families' collections.
Te zdjęcia później odnajdujemy te same w innych zbiorach.
I suppose maybe one of the main reasons why there was only one family who ever kind of lived here was because it's, one, so large, and two, sort of the temperature really fluctuates very up and down, extreme colds and extreme heats. Is that sort of one of the main reasons why they were the only ones living here?
Sądzę, że przyczyną tego, że tylko bielińscy...
I believe the reason that only the Bieliński family lived in the residence was not only climatic, but also because the lifestyle began to change. What is more, we entered the time of partitions. Aristocratic families were often stripped of their properties, which meant that they were not able to maintain as many residencies such as this one.
Powodowało, że nie byli w stanie utrzymywać tak ogromnych rezydencji jak ta.
The palace itself has 3,500 square meters. Even if for today's standards it seems unpractical to us, it was a very serious residency worthy of magnate family. Again, I think the lifestyle changed in those times. People started to appreciate smaller buildings. This one was difficult to reconstruct to accommodate smaller spaces, as well as the family itself simply owned a couple of properties in Warsaw, so they did not have to sustain such a big estate outside the capital.
I nie musiała już utrzymywać takiej dużej rezydencji poza nią.
Moving on to nearer to the present day, perhaps. The palace is primarily used as the sort of museum of interior design. Could you tell us when that began? Why was that decision made?
Po II wojnie światowej
After the Second World War, it turned out that the palace was even more ruined than in the 19th century, and it was decided that it should be rebuilt very quickly. When the renovation crews came here in 1946, unfortunately after the owners were stripped of their entire property, the palace was rebuilt in 2 years.
Całego majątku, jakim były w XVIII wieku.
Naturally, the rooms were not rebuilt in the style in which they were kept in the 18th century, but the estate was brought to a usable state. There were windows, stairs. It seemed that one could place an institution of culture here, but the fate was different.
W drugiej połowie XIX wieku, po okresie urzędowania tutaj kancelarii prezydenta.
In the second half of the 19th century, the palace was managed by various state institutions. After the palace stopped being used as the president's office, it was decided in 2004 to hand over the palace to the National Museum as a property that could serve as a suburban residence and a gallery of handcrafts.
Powołano wówczas Muzeum Wnętrz i zdecydowano, aby
It was decided to arrange historical interiors here. The reason for this, as I mentioned before, unfortunately there were no sources showing how the interiors here had looked like, and art historians who then undertook the reconstruction had nothing to fall back on.
Historycy sztuki, którzy się wówczas podjęli tego zadania.
The collections of the National Museum are really gigantic and wonderful. There are a lot of valuable furniture and paintings and other artistic craft objects, which unfortunately could not find its place in the main building at Aleje Jerozolimskie in Warsaw, because the main building itself is a pre-war building and there are too few galleries for exhibitions. Following the example of other world museums in Berlin or in France, a gallery of crafts was created here, aimed at the interiors.
Sam wybór wnętrz wynika z zasobu naszych magazynów.
The interior selection itself results from the resources of our warehouses. So there are the Baroque and classical interiors. We even decorated parts in a Biedermeier style, which you should know was not historically used here. However, because we have a large stock of very good objects from the Biedermeier period, we decided that such an interior should also be here.
Obiektów z okresu Biedermeieru zdecydowaliśmy się, żeby takie wnętrze też tutaj powstało.
Quite recently, there was the Night of Museums in Warsaw and surrounding areas. What did the Museum of Interior Design do for that evening?
W czasie Nocy Muzeów staramy się zwykle...
During the Night of Museums, we usually try to organize events inside the museum. We focus on different age groups, but also different expectations of visitors. We start with games and play for children, and end with more educational and museum-like activities.
Takich bardziej edukacyjno-muzealnych działaniach. W tym roku...
This year we had the Stanisławów Society. It is one of the reconstruction groups that works in our vicinity in Warsaw. They specialized in the second half of the 18th century, which although was a period of decline for the palace, it was still operating then.
Okresem, co prawda, jego już schyłku, ale jeszcze był wtedy czynny.
This year we held a children's theater and storytelling. There was a presentation of historical costumes and a skirmish by the moonlight, but also a volley at the end of the Night of Museums.
Ale także salwa na zakończenie Nocy Muzeów.
Night of the Museums was just a one-off event, but tell me about some other events which sort of happen here and maybe in the beautiful garden outside.
Od wielu lat, właściwie od momentu założenia muzeum w 2004 roku, organizowane są koncerty letnie.
For many years since the founding of the museum in 2004, summer concerts have been organized here. Every Sunday at 5 p.m. you can listen to a classical music concert outside. If the weather is unfavorable, we invite listeners inside to our largest room.
Większej naszej sali, nawet we wnętrzach.
And you can listen to quite light songs, which encourage people to learn about classical music. This really is a very interesting event. We know that people who come to these concerts are usually long-time listeners of classical music, and visit us every year.
Wysłuchują całego programu tego lata muzycznego.
The garden is perfect for such relaxation. You can take your children and animals with you, relax in the shade of the trees or enjoy the sun outside.
W cieniu drzewa albo nasycić się słońcem na zewnątrz.
Miss Ania, thank you very much for joining us here at Poland Daily Culture.
Dziękuję bardzo.
Thank you very much for joining us here from Odd Fox Palace. We'll be back again same time tomorrow for another episode of Poland Daily Culture.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Poland Daily History. Today we are visiting the Polish Central Bank and the Center of Money, where they provide education on the history of various world currencies and the Polish zloty. Join us as we learn about the 1,000 years of history of the Polish currency. During our visit to the NBP Money Center, we will speak with Adam Skrauta from the Education and Publishing Department of Narodowy Bank Polski. The Polish Central Bank functions under its current name since 1945, but is a continuation of two earlier banks operating in the 19th and early 20th century, serving a similar function. We're here today at the Central Bank of Poland talking about the Polish currency, as we know as the zloty. And now we're talking about after the reign of communism, when communism finally fell. The Polish people are already used to using banknote with an absurd amount of number on the face of it. And at what point did it change, and how did that change into the kind of banknotes we see today?
Yes, the problem of inflation became very apparent when Poland was transforming into a free market economy. Because all prices were freed, no more control by the state.
Yes.
So the prices were booming, and demand for higher denomination was also rising.
Sure.
To the point where salaries, for example, were counted in millions, and a loaf of bread was worth 10,000 zloty. So something had to be done about it. The authorities were looking for an optimal solution that wouldn't make the citizens weary of it. Because earlier or during the communist period, there was an infamous monetary reform that people had very bad memories of, and they didn't want to make the same mistakes, so they decided for a technical operation called redenomination.
Sure.
So it wasn't the introduction of an entirely new currency, but a technical operation of cutting zeros from denominations. So they decided that 10,000 old zloty should be exchanged for one new.
Oh.
And this operation started in 1995. People had some time to exchange all old money.
Sure.
Actually, until 2010, you had a possibility to go to a bank and exchange your old
banknotes. Not that long ago. Yeah, interesting.
Yes. So and to make this operation successful, Narodowy Bank Polski and the government needed to be sure that inflation rate is under control, and it's not going to rise again anytime soon. And this is why independent monetary policy became the core pillar of this whole system. And also, when new banknotes and coins were introduced, as technology progressed, new security features were introduced. So our present circulating banknotes are much better secured compared to the old ones. Starting with some very basic, easy to find security features like watermark, security thread. But some of them can only be seen using special equipment. For example, special coating visible only in UV light. And Narodowy Bank Polski cooperates with two companies where they order new banknotes and coins. Coins are produced in the Polish Mint, and banknotes and also other important documents like personal IDs, driving licenses are produced in Polish security printing work. And these two companies have exclusive right to cooperate with the central bank and fill their orders.
One of the main objectives of Narodowy Bank Polski, like of every central bank, is to uphold the value of the national currency. Next up, we will ask Mr. Skranta about the methods and tools the central bank has to achieve this goal. So when we talk about the central bank, I was wondering, because one of the functions you keep mentioning is that it maintains the value of the currency. How is that achieved?
It is achieved through monetary policy, which is run by the Monetary Policy Council, the strategic body here at Narodowy Bank Polski. And there are several instruments of monetary policy. One of them, the most important one, are interest rates. So basically, the central bank determines the cost of money on the market. So the mechanism is that when you raise interest rates, after some time, the interest rate of loans is likely to increase as well. And in the opposite direction, the same. When inflation rate is quite low, and the central bank want to provide some boost to the economy, they can decide to lower interest rates. And thanks to this, very soon we are going to see increased money supply thanks to this. Also, Narodowy Bank Polski, as any central bank, is a player on a financial market, so it can conduct open market operations. So basically, selling and buying to commercial banks securities. And by doing so, they can also have influence on money supply.
So how's the effort in curbing inflation? How has the effects been so far?
Well, all the efforts since 1995 were quite successful because since then inflation rate has constantly been dropping. One interesting fact: in 2007, we even had a small deflation.
Oh wow! Look at that.
And the purpose of the central bank is to set the inflation goal and to try to stick to that goal by using the aforementioned monetary policy instruments.
As we have seen today, the history of the Polish zloty is long, but at times tumultuous, with wars, invasions, and periodical financial crises. However, today, the Polish Central Bank has managed to keep the value of the Polish zloty stable and secure. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee, and I'll see you next time on Poland Daily History.
What can you say about Torun that hasn't been said before? Well, it all depends on how you look at it. At any rate, we're going to give it our best shot to be a little different. Torun is perhaps the prime example of Gothic architecture in the world. Its medieval quality is virtually pristine. And fitting this setting, it's also the birthplace of Nicholas Copernicus, who taught us that the Earth goes around the sun, and not the other way around. I'm not going to say that this is everything you always wanted to know about Torun, but were afraid to ask, but it's close to it. This is certainly a city not to be missed. It's a pleasure to be enjoyed slowly and deliberately. It would take a couple of weeks to see everything in this city and really soak in the atmosphere, and that would still be pushing it. But we are doing our dead level best to show you the greatest hits of Torun. So sit back and enjoy the next few episodes as Torun is unveiled before your eyes. I'm Will, this is Poland Daily Travel, and we love to see you watching. Like us on YouTube, and subscribe if you really, really like us. So join us for Poland Daily Travel Does Torun. Welcome back to Poland Daily Travel. You can hear in the other room the sound of either imprisoned children or happy children. I'm not sure yet. Who knows? But they're in the gingerbread palace, so they're probably happy. We are here with Krzysztof. I call him Chris. He is the gingerbread master of Torun. What he doesn't know about gingerbread, I'll say it again, is not worth knowing. And of course, with my colleague and guide and estimable companion here, Karolina Rucinska. That's what she says. And what are we going to do now? I'm feeling a little competitive. What's happening?
Well, now you have already learned about gingerbread ingredients, so now it's time for hard working, yeah?
So in the last episode, we learned about all the history and the ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
Now I got to do something.
Yeah,
I'll just be back. No, wait.
We will make decorative gingerbread. And now, let's start. So take the dough in your hands.
I only had a ball of clay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
And now it's time to smash it and knead it strongly in your hands. Yeah. By this, we need to give to the dough
a lot of dirt and sweat.
Yeah. It should be more plastic, yeah, warmer by kneading. Yeah.
Well, maybe I should sit on it, and make it warm.
No.
It's not good.
It's not a good idea.
Should sit on it? No.
Yeah.
Put it under my arm. No, is that good?
Better not.
It wouldn't make it more tasty. Would it? We'll need some more cloves.
You can smell.
We'll need cloves. It smells good. Yeah.
Then. Please form a little ball from this dough.
Yeah, okay. We're going to go like that?
Mm-hmm. When you already have...
I don't have your practiced hand. Yeah, okay. Not too hard. You have to do it kind of light, don't you?
Yeah, because right now it is plastic. Yeah. Then put on the table and roll with flour, which is spread on the table.
Roll it with the flour. That's flour, not sugar, folks.
Yeah, it's flour. Yeah. It should look similar like snowball, yeah?
Okay.
Or maybe a little donut.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
When it is white right now, please press it to the table, yeah?
Press it out, yeah?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Then we will roll it, which is with these rolling pins, but first you have to know the good size of this dough. It should be size similar to your open hand, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Okay.
rolling pin, and now we are rolling it.
I see the professional, you're not using these things, you're going like that. But the lady is using these.
Yeah, because
I never know what to do.
I think it's the better way to do
a
it.
few of them.
I don't know.
I'm looking at the professional, but the lady over here is saying, I got my own style.
I think lady has got practice too.
She's got her own style,
Of
yeah.
course. I do the gingerbread cookies every third day.
You make them at home, do you? Make them at home? All right.
Okay.
Is that, how much? More than that? I'm not enough.
Okay.
It's got to be bigger, right?
Mm-hmm. From this side maybe right now.
Yeah.
It should be more like...
Okay, great. I know.
See, she's already starting.
It's just a
She's
clever
already
advice.
starting. It's got to be more even. Good Lord, he can't even roll a gingerbread. My God. I bet he can't fix a motor either.
Okay.
My
enough.
car breaks down.
Enough. It's
Okay.
it's
Is that good?
size,
Right.
yes. Show me.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And now it's time to choose one of these wooden form which you like the most. When you will choose, please leave it next to your dough, yeah?
Okay.
So choose one of them.
That's an angel there, isn't it? What do you got?
I have a carriage.
You have a
Most typical
carriage. Is that the one you
Fortana,
like? Have
very
you done this?
typical.
You've done this before, haven't you? There's a horseshoe, right?
Oh, you've got here.
Oh,
And there's
a
also the
rooster.
Catherine.
I don't think that's. I think that's going to be hard to make, that one though.
Maybe we should try the Catherine one.
Oh, Catherine is very hard then.
Is that hard to do?
In the future it will be hard, yeah?
That's
Hard
why
to
she
say.
said that. She wants to be. So hers looks better.
Yes.
I knew it. She's very competitive. What is with Polish women? They're so competitive. You Eastern Europe and Southern European and whatever, not Southern, Central European women, you're very competitive. I like the angel. Is that a good one?
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Now we can
Symbol of
see
Toruń.
an angel in the city
That's
crest
what I was
of Toruń.
thinking. Yeah, as you said.
You're
Before.
listening.
Yeah. But maybe it's my dough is not big enough for it.
Okay, now,
That's
but your form, no, it's not time for it.
Okay.
Your form is unclean. Wait a moment, I will...
We have to brush it or something?
Yeah, I've got brush and I will clean
Okay,
it for you.
exit, stage left, not chased by bear. And when will he come back into the frame, folks? Here he comes, and he's got a large implement.
Yes.
There you go. You want to brush that?
It's very important stuff here, yeah?
It's very important. Yeah. Can I need to brush my hair too. Can I use that?
But you're...
I have a hat. But underneath, I like it to be,
Yeah.
brushed. Yeah. It's not.
Mine is fine, I
Yeah,
think.
your wooden form is clean. Okay, in the next step...
Your form is clean. His was messy. You see what I'm talking about?
That's how
Of course,
it
my
is.
form was clean. And I
Okay.
made all A's in school, too. Yeah.
And
All
our
fives she made, yeah. If she made a 4, she was very disappointed. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, in the next step, we have to...
Put the dough
No.
on the bone.
Sorry,
yeah, the oil. Yeah, I would forget.
we need to...
Put some oil.
I missed the word. Maybe we will
Paint?
cut this. Yeah.
Paint?
No,
Brush?
we need to.
You don't have to cut anything, just talk, baby.
Yeah, we
all
need to
good.
paint this wooden form with oil. Yeah.
Okay.
We will use these brushes, but
Yeah.
first we need to clean the brush a little here.
Right.
To not have too much oil on it. Yeah, because during painting. We cannot have too much of oil into wooden form, yeah?
Okay.
It cannot swim here. So few moves of brush.
Hurry up, William. I've already
Yeah,
done
and
it.
it will be
Jesus,
great.
here she goes again, see? You're going too slow. All right. Mine is painted.
Yeah, our wooden form are ready right now, so we need to prepare dough
Okay.
before we put it into wooden form. So we need to clean the dough a little, yeah, like
Okay.
this.
Get rid of the excess, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Excess flour.
I don't think I've ever made a cookie before in my life. This is it. My first time.
Okay. When your dough is ready, we can leave it on the form,
Okay.
and then we will press it by your fingers and do it strongly, with precision, especially near the rims, near the edge of the form. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't think mine's ready yet. Hang on.
Do you want me to check?
Yeah, you better.
Go and your phone?
You better check it. Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think? Yeah, it's not enough around the edges, I see. Yeah. And the middle is too puffy. Okay, that's what I figured. Yeah. If you're going to learn, folks, learn from a master. That's what we're doing here.
Okay. Right now, I think it will be okay.
I know she didn't ask for any help. It's like,
I will not.
I know how to cook. I know how to
I believe in her.
I know how to cook. That's what she said. I don't need any help cooking. Are you kidding? Fix my engine on my car. But, you know, I don't need help cooking.
Don't go too far.
Yeah. Oh, I've got a problem with my car, so maybe I will call you.
Yeah, call her. Call her. She's probably better on that.
I'm going to use this.
Now it's time.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to use this on me now. See? It always comes to that.
Now it's time.
Never leave these at home. Never take one of these home. Are you married?
No.
Oh, well, you're safe then.
Yeah, I know that.
You're safe to be hit with this. Okay, they're going to be waiting, people, women, outside the door, an angry mob. Yeah, okay.
Okay, now let's take the one of the rim of dough, and we are taking it on the other side, yeah? Don't be afraid.
Ta-da! That's pretty good, actually. It's very oily, I notice.
It's time for...
We're going to bake it?
Yeah, but a few moments.
We've got to let it sit for a while?
No. It's not enough working here, yeah? First, maybe we will do order here, yeah? Form on form.
Ordnung.
Ordnung in Deutsch, yeah?
Well, I'm a little confused because I feel German vibrations a little bit here. Or Prussian, at least.
Okay, then
sometimes.
It's time for taking one of these wooden knives. So please take it.
Okay.
And it's the right way to hold it, yeah? This finger here.
What? That finger?
Yeah,
here?
that finger here.
Yeah.
And we are not cutting the rims of dough like this, but like this.
Ah, so we're going like that.
We are hanging with this.
So we got to cut this now. That's the part I don't like. Okay. I'm far too impatient for this, I think.
The most difficult part, probably.
Uh-oh. Oh, I think I already made a mistake.
Oh, silence, yeah.
Full concentration.
Full concentration. This is, people at home are going, I'm hungry. We're running out to get gingerbread. How you doing there, Carolina?
I think mine is more difficult, actually.
Do you? Than mine? Well, of course you'd say that.
The horse's head is not the easiest part to cut out.
Don't mess it up.
I'm trying.
Wicked
I'm
laugh.
doing my best.
Don't mess it up.
Thinner knife is better for this, yeah?
Yeah. I've always said that men were better at cutting gingerbread figures than women.
I did it perfectly with the more difficult knife.
Really? You did it perfectly? Did you get another 5? Did you?
No, 6.
On your exam?
6.
It's got a 6.
We have 6s in Poland.
Oh my God, it's too much. I couldn't even get a 5. 6 is way too hard. I think I made a mistake.
Mine's perfect right now.
Is it?
I think so.
Did you get it? All right, there we go.
Horse's leg, yeah.
Okay, so...
That's it. I'm not going to do any better than
from
that.
the rest of dough, please form another small ball.
Another small ball.
Yeah.
Okay, and this one we're going to throw at the cameraman. Okay, I agree.
That's the best part.
Are you ready? My Ukrainian nemesis from Kiev. We're going to get right with you in a second, my friend. What do we do?
Now, we are leaving it here because after us, we will have
more
people visiting us today, and they will work with the same dough.
Superior.
Yeah, and now our decorative gingerbreads are ready right now, so I will take them and put them into hot stove. They will need few minutes. So it's time for resting for us right now.
Folks, thank you for watching. We have just made a gingerbread cookie. I'm afraid that hers already looks better than mine, and it's very annoying. Of course, the master chef's is very good. But my angel's wings are a little clipped, unfortunately. But we'll see how it turns out. Stay tuned for the next thrilling chapter when we will show the cookies we have made. And Carolina will chase me around the room with this rolling pin.